Russia-Ukraine crisis. Who will win in this crisis? Let's see who can win in this crisis. And the crisis happened because of these two regions, Luhansk and Donetsk. Russia granted official recognition to these two provinces, Luhansk and Donetsk. Remember these two provinces as Luhansk and Donetsk. These two provinces collectively called as Donbass region, Donbass, Donbass region. These two present in eastern Ukraine, and here the Russians percentage is more. Russian ethnicity, nearly 17% in Ukraine are Russians, and 78% in entire Ukraine are Ukrainians only. And why? Because earlier Ukraine is part of USSR, and at that time many Russian citizens lived here, and they make their livelihood here, and they became citizens of Ukraine. And now the conflict arises because of some cultural differences, language differences, and extreme nationalism. If you see Crimea, this is a peninsula in Ukraine occupied by Russia in 2014. And in the year 2014, separatists also formed autonomous governments. Like they called these separatist provinces as Donetsk People's Republic, Luhansk People's Republic in 2014 only. And since then, these two regions are under the control of separatist people. And these separatists not only controlling the government, they are also following the ruble currency, which is not the currency of Ukraine. Ukrainian currency is different from ruble currency, and Ukraine is not part of European Union and NATO. That's why it is not following euro currency, and NATO membership is not there. That's why it is weakened in war efforts. So if NATO membership is there, then maybe it can withstand the Russians' pressure. But it lost the Crimean Peninsula. Why? Because NATO membership is not yet given to Ukraine, because if it is given to Ukraine, the people, and it is the second largest country in terms of area in entire Europe. In Europe, this is the second largest country, Ukraine, after Russia. Many people can travel and they can get employment opportunities in rest of the Europe, and many countries don't want that. That's why European membership is not yet given, and NATO membership is also not yet given. But the Ukrainians want European and NATO membership, but these autonomous provinces like Luhansk, Donetsk, which are under the control of separatists, and the Crimea, which was under the control of now Russia, these three regions, they are very Russian pro. If you see these regions here, this region also very Russian pro only, and these are somewhat pro Russia, and in this region it is mixed, and this region where the Ukrainians, especially ultra nationalist kind of people, are pro-West, and in this region, because of the border with the rest of the European developed countries, they are very pro-West. So this is how we can separate their ideologies. Very pro-West mixed, pro-Russia, very pro-Russia. And now the conflict is between these two regions, Luhansk and Donetsk. And if you see Ukraine, it is I already told that it is the second largest country by area in Europe after Russia, and the current president is Volodymyr Zelensky, and here is the Zelensky, and Zelensky is ultra nationalist, and the capital of Ukraine is Kyiv, and currency is Ukrainian hryvnia, not euro, because it is not a part of European Union. It is not. Its currency is Ukrainian hryvnia, and the separatists are following the currency of Russia, which is ruble, and Ukrainian hryvnia is in the rest of the Ukraine. ethnic groups 78% are Ukrainians and 17% are Russians, which are present especially in east part of the Ukraine. Talks between Russia, Ukraine and OSCE, Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe. This is Europe. So in security and cooperation in Europe, they earlier made some protocols, like they met in Minsk and made some agreements in 2014 and 2015, but they all failed because Zelensky, now the current president Zelensky, who is ultra nationalist, he passed some laws making Ukrainian the only official language. So there are many Russians are there, nearly 17%. If Ukrainian is made as the official language, Russian language will not be present. So it is a direct attack on their language and culture. So this made separatists more angry, and that's why not only that, nearly 14,000 people died between because of Russo-Ukrainian conflict. Already 14,000 people died because from 2014. From 2014 itself, the conflict is going on, and now Russia stepped in and wants to occupy these two autonomous regions of Luhansk and Donetsk, and but Ukraine wants to join in NATO, which is not acceptable to Russia. Russia didn't want Ukraine to join NATO, but Ukrainians want to join NATO because they can forcefully regain the autonomous regions of Luhansk and Donetsk, and also can move into Crimea and hold the ports in the Black Sea region. So they can get their regions. That's why Ukraine wants to join in NATO, but Russia didn't want Ukraine to join. And Ukraine is the buffer and bridge between Russia and Europe. Even Russia's route to Europe for transport and oil pipelines is through Ukraine only. That's why Ukraine is very important for Russia to remain apart from NATO. And for Russia, Ukraine is advantageous because transport and oil pipelines is through Ukraine. And moreover, Ukraine is an obstacle for Russia's for its pipeline, gas pipeline, Nord Stream gas line. That's why Putin, the current president of Russia, took these measures. If you see Nord Stream, this is the longest subsea pipeline. It is an export gas pipeline, runs under the Baltic Sea, carrying gas from Russia to Europe. Entire Europe, many European countries, especially Germany, can get benefit because of this Nord Stream. That's why this Nord Stream, and it consists of two pipelines which have 2 lanes each, and these twin pipelines together can transport combined total of 110 billion cubic meters of gas a year to Europe for at least 50 years. This BCM, billion cubic meters, nearly in 1 year it can give 110 PCM of gas. So why Russia wants to this Nord Stream pipeline to work? Because the Russia's economy completely, nearly 40% of its budget, Russia's budget, comes from these natural gas selling, because Russia has the largest natural gas reserves in the world. In the entire world, the natural gas reserves are in Russia, majority reserves, and its budget, 40% of its budget comes from sales of gas and oil. So for Russia's economy, gas and oil sales are very important. So it wants to remove those obstacles, especially by Ukraine. And why Ukraine is creating obstacles to Nord Stream? Because if this gas pipeline was not there, Ukraine can get a transit fee. That means if vehicles and ships move, if vehicles move through Ukraine, they will get some money for Ukraine. That's why it is creating obstacle to this Nord Stream. If it joins NATO, then this pipeline will become very much difficult to progress. And US also wants not to this want to destroy this pipeline. That means they don't, why because US has oil and gas reserves, and US wants to sell these gas reserves to Europe instead of Russia. But especially European countries like Germany wants to buy oil and gas from Russia, because Germany can get in cheap from Russia. So for Europe economy, Russia's oil reserves are important because they can get at low prices when compared to US. But US wants to sell its own oil and gas reserves. That's why this conflict arises, because main issue is Nord Stream. Because of this one, this entire conflict came into picture, and and US also vocal about this. And if you see, Europe requires more than 100 BCM, billion cubic meters of natural gas each year, and around 40% of its gas comes from Russia only. And Nord Stream 2, which is the second pipeline, is important because it eliminates the risks related with sending gas through transit countries like Ukraine, and cuts operating costs by doing away with the transit fee. So if Nord Stream 2 comes into operation for Russia, the operating costs will decrease, and its economy will boost, and gives direct access to most important European customer, that is Germany. And Germany is also wants to buy from Russia only, because for Germany the economy also depends on gas and oil reserves, and here the Germans are also invested money in this pipeline. That's why it is very important to European countries. If you see, this is the Nord Stream from Russia's Vyborg to Germany's Greifswald and Rehden. Greifswald. So Vyborg to Greifswald, there is one pipeline. Okay. So it's not passing through Ukraine, and Ukraine will lost nearly $2 billion from transit fee. That's why it is creating obstacles. And moreover, this Luhansk and Donetsk regions are Russian ethnicity is more, and here Russians are being killed by the Ukrainian nationalists, because they are creating their separatist regions in Luhansk and Donetsk. Already Crimea was occupied by Russia, and now Russia wants to occupy these two regions, and itself get protected by the border, because Russian border is there here, and Russia wants to protect these two regions where Russian pro are present. Thank you.